Hello and welcome to my forge. It's time for conversions again, and today it's the Riders of Rohan's turn to be on my workbench. For my Rohirrim I need some mounted archers. Also I need some for my Saga Age of Magic Horde-Army or for my Great Kingdoms. Furthermore, Riders of Rohan are also quite good as Anglo-Saxons. So with these miniatures, 4 armies and 2 different rules are covered. The easiest way, as always, would be to buy them in the box until you have enough. However, as always, that's too easy. So I unpack saw, knife and green stuff. One thing all miniatures have in common: they will be cut at the waist. The new torsos come from Warriors of Rohan on foot, which are also cut in the middle. In the beginning I had some concerns about the cloaks the riders are wearing, but there's nothing what can't be fixed with green stuff. With the first model I really got lucky because the 2 miniatures fit together perfectly. Cloak and folds match very good, but there's one small problem. The quiver had to be removed completely because it couldn't be saved after the miniature was cut into pieces. So I glued the torso to a 0.5mm plastic card. After the glue is hardened, it's time for the green stuff. I'm also using hand lotion, so the green stuff doesn't stick to fingers or the sculpting tool. Additionally, it gets a lot smoother than without it. The cloak's still intact, and for most of this it's more a kind of reconstruction than sculpting. As the quiver was removed, a new one is needed. But at this point my bits box comes to the rescue. The oath-marked dwarf infantry has archers. Don't ask me why. I also think crossbowmen would be more suitable for dwarves, but doesn't matter now. Right at the moment it's helpful because here I get a new quiver. The last problem is that part of the armor was cut away. Resculpting chainmail or scale armor is a nightmare if it has to look good. Sadly, this is outside of my capabilities of sculpting, so I'm taking the easy way out and glue a shield at this place and everything's fine. As done with the first miniature, this rider also is cut into pieces, as is the infantryman which supplies the new torso. The bow is connected to the body, and at first I thought I could keep it, but then I had to remove the whole hand. The sawing cut off the lower part of the quiver, 1/3 I would say, and to resculpt the quiver I had to remove a part of the cloak. Then I started resculpting. My first impression was a quiver must be difficult, but it was easier than I thought, and in the end it's only a tube in which arrows are put. After the green stuff of the quiver is hardened, I started on the cloak. This was quite easy and the removed parts are fast to replace. As I've done with the first model, I had to cut away a part of the left side, including the sword hilt. So it is replaced, and again I'm gluing a shield above the area to cover up the mess. The last step is to replace the hand with the bow. For this I use one from Gripping Beast's Heavy Arabic Cavalry. I bought this box some days ago because I need it for another conversion. To connect the parts I drill holes for brass wire so that the connection is stronger when glued together. Archer number 3, again a cavalryman and an infantryman, are cut into parts. It's a little bit like a slaughterhouse when I'm listening to myself right now. Sawdust and other debris are removed and the miniatures are glued together. With this model, the back is a little bit more demanding than for the first two. There is cloth wrapped around the quiver and it's cut off at the lower end, so this has to be replaced. I started replacing by putting a piece of green stuff on the back and remodeled the cloak. Next, I redraw the lines of the quiver and the cloth's folds. For this, I followed the still existing line from the beginning and ended in the same fold as on top of the quiver. As for the other Riders of Rohan, I had to replace the sword hilt. This time I don't need a shield to cover up the area, because I didn't cut into the armor. As a last step, the rider gets a new bow, and then he's completed. Rider 4 starts again with an infantry and a cavalryman cut in half. This time I removed the bow from the hand because it was attached to the clothing. At first it seemed as if I could keep the arrow, but it didn't make it either, and in the end I replaced it by a brass pin. After gluing the miniatures together and the glue is hardened, it's time for green stuff again. The quiver survived the procedure and there's no need for resculpting or a new one. So it's right off to the cloak. It's the same as before, the parts that were cut away are replaced. Also this time I don't use a shield, because the left side wasn't damaged and only the sword hilt has to be replaced. With these last steps, the Rider of Rohan is completed and now they all line up in the queue waiting to be painted. If I didn't make so many conversions, this queue would be much shorter. Here now the mounted archers for my Rohirrim. If you enjoyed the video and want to support my work, please like, share and subscribe, or leave a comment below. See you soon in my forge.